Hello guys, this is Josh again, and I thought today I would make a video on classic versus modern day gaming. Now, this is probably not the type of video you would expect to see from a Runescape channel, but I did say I would be talking about my own personal interests, so that's what you get. Anyway, classic games have a reputation for being much, much more difficult than the more modern day games that are being released. Um, Tetris is a great example of this, I think, because it is a sort of bridging game, in my opinion, between the very casual and the very hardcore gamers, as it is obviously very, very classic, and if you start on the lower levels, which I don't like doing, it is fairly easy, and it's incredibly popular with people who don't even game per se. But as you get to the higher levels, it becomes extremely, extremely difficult and very quick paced, and really only the better players can actually get to those higher levels. So, just turn the sound off. It's a very unique thing, I think, that video games have become much more casual in recent years. And although I'm only 18, I've seen sort of the rise of the casual game with particularly mobile games. And I just want to say I have no problem with casual gaming. In fact, I think it's often the way to go, but I think a game should always have a serious element of challenge that can be accessed within it. That doesn't mean it has to be constantly difficult, which is why, in my opinion, difficulty settings are so important. And it's very strange to me that a lot of games have practically abandoned the the idea of consequences for your actions. A great example of this is the role-playing game Fable. Now, Fable is a come-and-go game for me. I've been playing it since the first one came out, and it was alright. It's nothing particularly groundbreaking in my opinion, but it very quickly introduced the idea, to me at least, that games could be incredibly easy and still slightly fun. In this game, death has practically no consequence, and that has become even a greater feature in the sequels, Fable 2 and 3. And gamers have noticed this, and on the whole, they feel Fable is more of a joke than the more challenging games, I guess. And these games are continually made easier and easier, so a greater amount of people can access it. But these people often want a greater challenge, or they want to feel like what they're doing in the game is unique. If you were just playing a game to pass time, then why even play a game? You want to have a degree of challenge and fun in your gaming experience, otherwise there's really no point even playing. And that's what's been strange about MMOs. As they get older, they become easier and easier and easier, and this upsets the veteran players, and as a consequence, many of them quit. And when you're a game company, you don't want anyone to quit your game, however inevitable that is. And the gamer, the gaming communities, they want to express that they don't want constant, casual, easy mode games. They want to have some sort of challenge in their gaming experience. But it just seems like very few, if any, game companies are starting to realize that this is wanted. And, well, what just happened there? And of course, they don't actually give those alternatives to the player. So, the older classic games are almost like a refuge of a gaming style that is kind of not so mainstream anymore. The idea of that player who had to perfect his skills and everything, people don't really want to be that person, if they ever did. But game companies don't want to treat those people on the whole. You can compare this to the success of games like Angry Birds and various other casual games where, on the whole, they're built for non-gamers, in my opinion. They're built for people who really don't game much, but they just kind of want something to do in their spare time, or they're waiting for someone or something. And it's kind of sad though, because the main games are starting to follow that same trend of making their games easier and easier and easier. And they don't understand that players will often enjoy a challenge in their gaming, and if they're not being given that at all, then they're less likely to enjoy the game. It becomes a time filler, really. And you can go on and on about how certain games are not legit or hardcore enough to deserve praise, and I'm not really trying to say that. Like, in my opinion, despite it being a very, very unpopular opinion with gamers, I think Call of Duty is a very casual game, and in my opinion, it's not such a skill-intense game, despite many people saying otherwise. So, of course, this idea is subjective, but I think most, if not all gamers, serious gamers, if you want to call a gamer serious, will say that they prefer some element of challenge in their game experience. And is that something that is leaving the gaming community entirely? To a point, it is lessened, but it is still somewhat prevalent in gaming today, as some games try to give this gaming option with different difficulty levels and different handicaps and whatnot. But at the same time, you see more and more games have no difficulty setting, and the default setting is incredibly easy. And it seems strange that you don't even give the person an option to challenge themselves in your game. Why would you do that? It's almost as if they want the person to enjoy the game less because it's just far too easy for them at a certain point. And I don't know if this video has become more of a rant about the more casual games, or if it is actually a comparison between modern and classic games, but I really do want to express that this game is unforgiving. Every mistake you make will quickly stack up, and there's no get out of jail free card where it's like, oh well, I'll just clear these 4 rows for you because you're up to a certain level. No, just like that. I played it for a good amount of time, a few minutes. I did fairly well for a while. I made a few mistakes, and Tetris punished me for it. And that is incredibly fun, because I can go back and try to avoid those mistakes again, however difficult that may be. And Tetris is not helping today. And I will have more and more fun each time as I do better and better, and I try to learn from the mistakes that I'm making. So why do games not offer this to the players as much as they used to? Did it come to a point where gamers were demanding easier gaming experiences, or was it purely in an attempt to reach out to the more casual gamers? You can see this especially with the older gaming series, such as Elder Scrolls. Now, Elder Scrolls Skyrim is a fantastic game. There is no denying how incredibly fun it is, in my opinion at least. But anyone who has played Morrowind will see how much that game series has dumbed down to an extremely ludicrous point. From being an incredibly difficult, unforgiving game where it spawns you in this amazing world and says, go away, go make your own adventure, to a game that really just held your hand and gave you a map and a quest log and just said, don't worry if you can't play or you can't work out where you're going, that's fine with me. And I'm not gonna lie, these games could be frustrating from time to time, and sometimes you would wish that the game developer would just give a little mercy, but you felt like the more the more you put into it, the more you would get back. And in life, I think challenges are always important, because if you ever get to the point where you've just mastered everything, then really what do you do in life? You can't endeavor to constantly push forward, which I think is incredibly important to any healthy human. So I guess if you really wanted to, you could draw from this video that I think people don't know what they're missing in these sort of games, despite them believing that I'm, I guess, thinking too much about the importance of challenge in game. I think I'll leave it there before I ramble on a bit too much, and I hope you got something out of this video. Thank you for watching, and just a quick shout out to two great guys in real life that may or may not watch this video, Rob and Shane. Rob is a fairly successful video maker with Call of Duty, so he probably wouldn't like my Call of Duty comments, but oh well. And Shane, who's an all-round nice guy, so yeah, might even be able to sucker one or two of them into doing a future video with me. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, have a great day.